All right, raise your right hand. You swear or affirm testimony about to give the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, you have a seat. You pull that microphone down a little bit closer. How you doing? And just watch out for the court reporter who's right there with the little dictation cup on her mouth. If she waves at you, it means she can't hear you. No, it's on the screen. See her?
Yeah, which one?
She waves at you, it means she can't hear you. All right?
Orange for it.
So this is
the
position
orange.
3. Bostic, you there? Where's Bostic? Oh, there's Miss Gordon. They're right. Position 3, 22 CP 213504, Bernard Doster, 98 days without indictment. He's got no bond as of October 27th. Possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Go ahead, Mr. Norwood. Doster, position 3. I've sworn him in. State your name and spell it for the court reporter.
Thank you. Yes.
Officer, state your name, spell it for the court reporter.
Officer Cruz, CRUZ, East Point Police Department.
Good afternoon, 88 Matthew Norwood for the state. Thank you, Officer Cruz, for being here. Could you please introduce yourself to the court? Where are you currently employed?
East Point Police Department.
How long have you been employed there?
Despite the free departure of another department.
Is that 4 years? What are your current duties with the East Point Police Department?
Patrol on evening watch.
Were you on patrol in evening watch on October 25th of 2022?
I was on day watch at that time, but I wasn't.
On day watch. What are your duties with the day watch?
I get assigned to a specific zone each day to that work the west side of town, zone 6.
All right. Do you have any prior law enforcement experience? Were you post-certified on October 25th, 2022?
Yes.
Can you tell the court about the incident that occurred on that date? How did your investigation of Bernard Doster begin?
We got called to 3887 Washington Road, which is the Washington Road Food Mart. Problem area in the city, we get a lot of drug arrests there. The clerk called and advised that we had inside the store. making sure
After you were called to the scene.
Got to the store, I met with the clerk because there was just another customer, so I asked the clerk about the person. The clerk advised me no, that the mail he called about had hid in the back somewhere when he saw us pull up because the store has one way in and one way out for entrance. So we did a sweep of the store. Me and the officer I was training at that time, the training officer, and we found Mr. Doster laying in the cooler in the back. He was behind like pallets of beer. It was a dark cooler, no lights. It was where they keep the things that they had to put out in front. He was laying down behind a pallet of beer. Asking us how we had to when we take it. He told me that he worked for the store first. Then he told me that the clerk told him to go back there to find his mistake. We got into the car, he went identified some people, answered questions. I went back in, I spoke with the clerk. The clerk told me he did not work there. He did not tell him to go back there and find a drink. And then the clerk pointed me in the direction of where he witnessed Mr. Doster hide something in the pound of soda. I went back there and I believe I found, I don't recall the exact weight, but a large amount of marijuana on a digital scale, plastic bag, underwear. The clerk told me he observed behind us.
Okay, where is the store located?
3887 Washington Road, East Point.
Is that in Fulton County?
Yes, sir.
And with respect to the store owner, do you remember the store owner's name? Is it Pradeep Amin?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he tell you he saw specifically?
He said that people were coming in and out of the store, meeting Mr. Doster in the back, and Mr. Doster.
Was he able to identify the defendant? Did he identify the defendant? Did you identify the defendant as well?
Yes.
How did you confirm the defendant's identity?
He wouldn't give us his name until we got to the jail. He gave it to a detention officer. He did not speak to me at all.
Okay, okay. But you were able to eventually confirm his name and date of birth? Okay.
And if we try to change this fingerprint by our booking department.
All right. Do you see the person in the courtroom today who was identified as a suspect?
Yes, sir.
Everybody remove the mask.
Thank you, Your Honor. You can stand up if you need to, but can you describe where he or she is sitting and what he or she is wearing?
That's over there with the dark blue shirt, gray shirt, check boxes.
All right. You can have a seat now.
All right, you can put your mask back on.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant,
All right,
Bernard Doster.
noted.
Just a few more questions. How far was the marijuana that you found in relation to where you found the defendant?
So there's 3 lanes to shop. So it was in the middle lane under the soda. The coolers were 1 lane over, and he had to walk around the coolers and go to the side. 1 lane over, and 1 feet to walk.
And you know it was marijuana based on, how did you know it was marijuana?
I took in a drug, identification online, usually boys are also made some drugs. Without affecting GDI, without out
Were there any witnesses other than Pradeep Amin?
of
And you, Pradeep Amin called 911? And that's, when you arrived, you responded to a 911 call? Okay. How was the marijuana packaged?
I believe it was 2 bags, 2 clear plastic bags inside of a black bag.
And Pradeep Amin saw the defendant place the marijuana where you found it?
When Mr. Doster saw us approaching, when we parked up front, he went to the back, by the pallet of Pepsi where I found it. He marijuana with it, stuck it underneath and walked around, and so he went to the back room. And I found him in the cooler, which is actually on the body.
And is your body cam preserved?
Yes.
All right. Did the defendant make statements?
One of the first 2 statements, when he told me that, initially told me that he worked for the store, he was doing repairs, and then that the clerk had gave him permission to go back there and look for specific things.
But he didn't have any other permission though. But he did have permission to be inside the store?
He walked into the store, he did not ask him to be called. The clerk is in the glass box, he does not step out of that.
All right. And the name of this business, what's the name of this business?
Washington Road Food Mart.
All right. Did you observe any United States currency?
I do not recall if
Did Pradeep Amin mention anything about observing any United States currency?
he told me, he didn't get into specifics, he just told me he saw me making any transaction.
But you did see a digital scale inside the bag that you found. With respect to the amount, can you, what do you think was the amount of it?
I believe it was over 40 grams.
Over 40 grams?
I don't remember the exact number, but if I do recall, it was for over 40.
So not quite 2 ounces, but close. Okay.
It was 2 sandwich bags tied up with the scale inside of that bag.
All right. And you were pro certified on this date, October 25th, 2022? And you arrested the defendant? Did you Mirandize him?
I do not recall.
That would be on your body cam though.
Yes.
And the Washington Food Mart is in Fulton County? And you personally identified the defendant based on witness testimony? All right. No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, Cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Cruz, were you the initial officer that responded?
Yes, along with an officer who is still currently.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I responded with an officer who was under my supervision as part of the field training.
Aside from you and the training officer, were there any other police present?
No.
And I do believe you said that there was a body worn camera. Was that correct?
Yes, I had my body on camera activated in my training. Camera activated.
All right, and was that footage preserved and saved for discovery?
Yes.
All right. Now, when Mr. Amin called for police, what description did he give for the person making quote unquote, hand-to-hand transactions?
Black male wearing a black shirt, I believe it was. It was a very vague description.
And when you arrived at the location, you said there was another male, but what was that male wearing?
I do not recall. It is catching on my.
Okay,
I do, it was not a black shirt.
okay. And did you ask Mr. Amin what made him believe there were hand-to-hand transactions happening?
So he had observed people coming in, and he was just standing in the back, not purchasing anything. And people were coming into the store, meeting him in the back, and not purchasing anything as well.
And did he explain to you exactly what a hand-to-hand exchange looked like?
I don't recall if he got into this. He just told me that he was back there, people coming up to him, they were touching hands.
Okay, and what exactly did Mr. Amin say he definitively saw was actually exchanged?
I don't know if you could definitively see exactly what was being exchanged.
Where was Mr. Amin in reference to Mr. Doster, if you know, when he said that he saw the hand-to-hand transactions?
So there's only 3 lanes to shop. The counter is basically in the center, so you can see all.
And so would there have been nothing in the aisles that could have obstructed the view of the cashier to where Mr. Doster was allegedly standing?
I mean, you can't have a view of his full body if he's standing in and out, but there's nothing that would cover from his chest up to the shell line that high.
Okay. And did Mr. Amin provide any video footage of the alleged incident?
No, there's no camera.
And this is a high-risk area, is that what you stated before?
Yes.
Now, I do believe you said that Mr. Amin did not ask Mr. Doster to leave, is that correct?
No.
No, he did not ask him to leave?
No, he did not. Typically, when Mr. Amin has a problem, he calls us. He doesn't confront people.
Okay. And were there any signs saying that the back area was restricted or the cooler area was restricted?
I do not recall those signs.
Are there any restrooms in the store?
Not above.
When Mr. Doster was searched incident to arrest, was anything found on his person?
I don't recall what was found. I believe in the training officer. I don't recall specifically what was taken out of the spot. But that was also captured by.
So were any drugs found on Mr. Doster to your knowledge?
Not on the person.
Was the suspected marijuana sent to GBI for testing?
Yes.
And have those results come back?
I can check. I did not print them off.
And how were you aware that the alleged drugs were marijuana?
Arrest at that location, other locations, city already frequently do this. The rest of the city, and I have sent marijuana to GBI 7 times before. On my knowledge, and I took a online JIT course on Northern Police.
All right, and you said that it was over 40 grams. How were you aware that it was over 40 grams?
I weighed it on the digital scale, which was in the bag, and I weighed it on the scale, which we have in the report room in our department.
And when you weighed it, did you weigh it with or without the bag that it was in?
With the bag. I wouldn't have been able to weigh it out the bag.
All right, no further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Just very briefly, two questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
What time of day did this incident happen?
To my knowledge, it was before the end of shift. At 4 p.m. So I would say 2 or 4 p.m. maybe. I don't recall the exact time.
Early afternoon?
Yes.
So it was like sunlight?
Yes.
And how big is the store?
When we walk in, there's maybe 3 30-foot aisles, and then the coolers, and then the back area is slot machine, like not slot machine, like digital games as well.
It's not particularly large.
It's not super large like a Walmart or anything like that. It's typical gas station size, maybe.
Yeah.
Back in there.
Was there anybody else in the store when you arrived in there?
I believe a customer, an older gentleman, if I believe I'm not watching.
And Pradeep, I mean, never said anything about the other gentleman conducting sales.
No, and when we walked out with Mr. Gosler, there was a control vehicle, and I walked back in.
No further questions.
All right, anything else?
That's all, Your Honor. Nothing from us.
All right, anything else for this officer?
No, Your Honor. May our officer be excused?
Yeah, stay safe. Good to see you, Officer Cruz. All right, argument.
Yes, Judge. The state will submit on the evidence subject to rebuttal with one note. We do ask that you find probable cause for marijuana with intent to distribute based on the officer's testimony and evidence presented. There was a digital scale found in conjunction with previously packaged marijuana. So we would submit that is indicative of intent to distribute. And given the direct ID by the store owner in the closed area of the store, we would submit there's a constructive possession here. And if Your Honor is so inclined, perhaps a possession of drug-related objects misdemeanor could be added here, but nothing further from the state.
Kennebrew?
Yes, Your Honor. We are making an argument that the drugs that were found were not within the area where Mr. Doster was actually observed being, which was in the enclosed case where the drinks that had not been put out into the aisle were. Anyone could have placed those items, those alleged items, into the area where they were found. There was access for everyone coming throughout the store. The officer even testified to observing people coming in and out of the store. They didn't find any drugs on Mr. Doster's person. So we would make that argument, Your Honor. Also, he was in a public place. There wasn't anything that was happening, or he didn't do anything outside of a public place where anyone was allowed. It didn't say that there was a reason, or there was not a reason for him to be allowed in the back of the store. So that's the argument that we're submitting, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else from the state?
Nothing further from the state.
All right,
Judge.
I find probable cause on possession of marijuana with intent to distribute will add possession of drug-related objects of misdemeanor. There is no bond as of October the 27th. Trial.
Your Honor, the defendant has 13 cycles beginning in 2013. Last arrest was May of 2022 out of East Point, Georgia for criminal trespass. No disposition listed on the last arrest. 3 open cases. The first one, Fulton County, for possession of Schedule II controlled substance and battery substantial physical harm, 21 CP 1983-91. Second one for aggravated assault, hate crime, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and during commission of a felony, 21 CP 1992-81. Third open case for sale of a marijuana, 22 CP 2086-57. A 2018 felony conviction out of Dodge County for willful obstruction of law enforcement officer. It was a 2017 revoked first offender. 2018 felony conviction, Fulton County, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm by a first offender, 18 SC 1590-35, 1 violation of probation. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Denver.
Your Honor, Mr. Joster is 24 years old. He has a 7-year-old son. He has obtained his GED. He is willing to be on an ankle monitor, and we do have an address where he will reside. Is actually the address in Odyssey. He has support that will actually be available for him. He has a girlfriend, his mother here in the Atlanta area. He is a lifelong resident of Georgia. His entire family is here in Georgia, and he does have support. So he's unlikely to flee or fail to appear. And I didn't hear any FTAs in his history. He is not a significant threat or danger to any person or the community. He is not at he is not a risk of intimidating any kind of witnesses, and he will stay away from the incident location and does not have a personal relationship with the complaining witness. So we are asking for you to set a bond on his matter, and it has been 97 days, so he's entitled to a bond, Your Honor. We are asking for the bond not to exceed $10,000.
Is he still going to reside at Washington Road address?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3887 Washington Road. That's a Washington Food Mart. No further contact with Pradip, Pradip, last name Amin.
If I may briefly address the court, Your Honor.
Sorry.
Just with respect to Ayala, I just want to put on the record, the state is concerned here about the danger posed to our victim's address or the owner of the business, Pradip Amin, and the patrons of his store, particularly given the nature of the defendant's open cases and open aggravated assault, some felony convictions in Fulton County. Also, with regard to those open cases, the state is concerned about significant risk of reoffending here, pending trial, and of course, the risk of reoffending to return, the risk of returning to the jurisdiction to face those charges, given the nature of having open cases. But we will leave any bond modification in Your Honor's discretion. We understand the defendant is entitled to a bond at this point.
Sorry
Nothing
about
further
that.
from
I
the
get my
state.
rhythm. I just fly, don't I?
No worries.
That's usually what I do, like at night. All right, someone had an ankle monitor served paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, and employment. You got to provide, bless you, name of your employer, proof of employment and schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You have to provide it to your attorney, and you also need to let the ankle monitoring company know, who then, and your attorney will then let the state know. If you move, you also have to put in a change of address. If you have any sort of hold, you have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle once you're released. $15,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All
I
right.
just want to confirm that there was a stay away there, right?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
stay away from 3887 Washington Food Mart.
Thank you, Your Honor. Got Officer Hill here on position 2. He came in. We're still waiting on the officer for position 1, but there's a special unit ADA here for that case. So if they were to get here, I would request that we could take that one.
So we got the officer
next
for Douglas
opportunity.
and Williams. Which one of you going to go first?
This one?
Oh,
Doug.
right, you know,
This one got it
pulling
done.
rank.
Oh, is they're gonna do the bond? Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Drug-related objects, did you do the breakdown of the?
Oh, drug-related objects, just make $500 on the drug-related objects.
Thank you, Your
I don't think we're gonna do it.
So 15,500.
Yeah, I can. I was already.
Oh, you raise your right hand. You swear further testimony about to give the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, you just sit down and state your name and spell it for the court reporter till we get Mr. Douglas out here.
Let's wait on.
I am Detective Joseph Fowler, Balfour Police Department. My first name is last name is WOR.
Wait, I can't even hear that.
Detective Joseph Fowler.
Is that mic on? No, I can't hear it like I normally can. Oh, that needs the green light on. Yeah. Can you push that?
Push that, this little button.
Yeah.
See this one right here? It's a little caved in. Now tap.
It should turn green at some point. I thought it was a little. Maybe it's just not. It might be
Where's
off.
Miss Lewis.
We'll work with it.
Miss Watts, where's Miss Lewis?
I'm getting ready to call her right now. She should be upstairs, Judge.
Okay, what's,
I'm getting ready to call her for you.
Eric Douglas.
let me see it back. Let me see too if I can. One second.
Your Honor, we're on position 6, correct?
Position. Well, it was 6, it's 5. Eric Douglas.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just ask if Ms. Sims has a Fulton County email address for me to request a transcript?
Ms. Sims, do you have a Fulton County email address or?
No, Your Honor, I do not. I'll be glad to place it in the chat for everyone. It's not a problem. I can just give you my personal, I'm sorry, I have contracted laryngitis a bit, so I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm placing it in the chat right now.
Wishing you a speedy recovery.
Hold on one second.
Thank you. Thank you, 88 Norwood.
May it please the court.
Yeah, hold on one second. We're trying to get, unless he can speak,
Oh,
up,
I
trying to
see.
get the little Zoom controller here so we can.
Counselor, did you receive it?
Well, I don't see where the chat function thing is.
I
If
let's
you
see.
look
can
where
give
the
it to you.
leave button is, where it says more.
I can give it to you, Ms. Bray.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Sorry.
All right.
George.
Oh, and I should say, it will go into Odyssey. So if counsel is in Odyssey, you'll get a notification, I believe, for the filing, if I'm not mistaken. If
All right.
not, I'll still send you one just in case you don't.
All right. Thank you.
Certainly.
Ms. Williams, can you get the Zoom controller? I'm trying to find the link to the Zoom controller. Hold on. All
No, Your Honor, I don't have it.
right, wait a minute.
Judge Manning, Ms. Lewis is on the way down.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Usually have the, looking for that. Oh, dang it. Let's see. Let's see if I can make this happen. Cross finger, cross finger. Now hit it. Now hit the microphone. Now this. Will it not turn green still?
Sometimes you gotta like keep your finger on there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Now take it off.
Did you break it?
I don't know.
Is Bray broke it? Let's see, because I unmuted it from here. I
Yes.
got it unmuted.
To come from SCA1A witness. But it would be wired through the podium, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. I took it off mute, so it should have worked. Ms. Lewis?
Said the victim's gonna be in the Zoom call for 6:05. They said the victim might be in the Zoom.
I turned it off mute, Ms. Lewis, but when he puts the little button, it won't turn from red to green.
That's what I got a note from the.
The witness, I took it off mute from the controller, but when he hits the microphone turn on, it won't turn from red to green over here.
It should just, the podium should pick up for the whole courtroom.
So, yeah, before those work, because this one works.
Yeah, because if we cut them all on, then it'll be feedback. So the podium is wired to handle all the sound.
And tap that podium. Tap the podium.
Ms. Sims, can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Lewis, I can, but I can't hear the witness. I mean, the officer rather, so.
Yeah, because before you tap it, it makes noise.
Okay,
The detective, sorry.
give me 1 second.
I can just say that Ms. Bray was over here messing with it before it broke. I'm just gonna.
Oh, this is another check. We want to laugh every time we do nice to it. And score.
May I approach briefly the witness?
Sure.
And I see you unmuted it, Judge. I don't know.
Yeah, it usually is green. Ms. Bray. Yeah, because they're usually green. Were you able to hear the first one?
Barely.
Oh, see, I know that but this morning it was working fine, right?
It was working fine. And I was signaling, but I didn't,
Oh, nobody,
no one saw me. It's fine. So I just,
I know I have to look this way though.
Microphone on, Judge?
Yeah, I mean, he hits the little thing that won't turn red. I mean, it won't turn green. Go ahead.
Have you seen that when it's like another red light, basically?
It's the curse of the courtroom. Yesterday was kind of the same.
Oh, maybe if you wiggle it, maybe it'll.
Is it plugged in anywhere? Sometimes you just plug it out or pull it out, put it back in.
Oh, it's IT. Did you turn it off and turn it back on? Hold on, let me do that. Twist that thing, I don't know, sometimes it might. And that light should work. All right, Ms. Bray, take that out of her paycheck right there.
Good. Yeah. In a minute, we'll just see if we can do a bond hearing. Everybody will have a mic for that.
I think that might be reset too.
Yeah, I don't see the officer
I
here.
don't see it.
That officer has COVID, and that officer is he doesn't have to. We already dismissed him, so yeah. So
The
they,
first one I didn't see.
I ain't going nowhere.
oh, you didn't
That's
see
gonna
him?
tell me that I literally just smiled.
I'm covering with someone else. I didn't see it, but.
Well, at least.
Investigator Paul sometimes send different.
Okay.
I think it probably went out. Yeah. She got special connections. But, no, she like no, it's crazy.
What's the next guy? I guess you could set the next one.
Yeah, if it's the first time, it just maybe just ask for it one time. We set up. So that's what I'm not worried about it. Number one, we'll see what goes on with it though. But it could still be on the way. I'm gonna text Investigator Paul in a minute, but that's what I'll just let the court know. If it may please the court, Your Honor, while we're working on the tech issue with the witness stand, I misspoke. Our special unit ADA is here on position 5, not position 1. She is. We understand that position 5 got indicted, but she is here and able to do a bond hearing. So if we were to do a bond hearing, everybody would have a mic for that.
Oh, okay.
No,
Or
my understanding was it's set for 2/7.
oh, that's what she was going to
motions,
announce.
Your
Actually,
Honor.
yeah.
For renewed motion.
My apologies.
It's currently no bond status given
Yeah.
his priors and
You talking position?
position number 5.
Oh, okay.
He's indigent and has many prior convictions for similar offenses. He was indicted on 123 and is now set for a motions calendar on 2/7.
Okay.
But you won't have that since he's
Been indicted.
indicted.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
has to go to wherever judges.
Yeah, to the judges, when it's on the wheel, whoever is assigned.
Are you here on 1, 2, number 1, 2?
No, Your Honor,
Oh, just that one?
just number 5.
Oh,
we
okay.
Found as indicted.
And I, of course, don't have the file on Antonio Dees, because as soon as it's indicted in my office, we're required to move the file on.
I see.
So I don't have the file here today.
And I think it's set for plea and arraignment on 3/17.
It is.
Yes.
All right, worst comes to worst. You mind if we maybe make you stand up there at the podium?
That's fine.
You okay with that?
I think that's fine.
I think, yes.
Adapt, adjust, overcome. You mind standing, you can just, you can face them. You just talking to that microphone.
Yes, Judge, and may 88 Charles be excused?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh,
Have
thank
a
you
good
so much, Your
afternoon,
Honor.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
That way you can face them if you want, you just spin that microphone around. We'll try it again for Madam Court Reporter. We will adapt, adjust, and overcome. All right, go ahead and state your name for the court reporter.
Joe Fowler, J-O-E, last name F-O-W-L-E-R.
Perfect.
All right, thank you for being here. Was it Officer Fowler or is it?
It's detective.
Detective.
I'm
Fowler. Thank you.
detective.
Thank you.
Not hurting my feelings.
Oh, just making sure I'm getting it right.
No worries.
So where are you currently employed?
Alfredo.
Police Department?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been employed there?
Going on 4 years.
What are your duties with the Alfredo Police Department?
I'm assigned to general investigations currently.
What duties does that entail?
I investigate the shoplifting, thefts, things of that nature.
Do you have training and experience in investigating those types of shoplifting and theft incidents?
Yes, sir. I have a total of 16 years policing. Started in 2007. Got almost 2,500 hours of training, post-credit training. I got my intermediate advanced certifications. Got a little bit of training.
That was my next question. What prior law enforcement experience do you have?
I worked for Marta Police Department for 7 years prior to Alpharetta, and before that, I was with the Georgia State University Police Department downtown.
All right. And you received this case on July 20th of 2022?
I did.
Were you post-certified on that date?
I was.
The date of this incident, however, is July 17th, 2022. Are you familiar with that incident date?
Yes.
Can you tell the court about that, about what occurred on that incident date? How did your investigation of Eric Douglas begin?
I was notified, the case was assigned to me. Essentially what had happened was Eric Douglas had went into the Macy's store and went to a kiosk and took approximately 4 or 5 pairs of sunglasses. It ended up being just over $1,100 worth of sunglasses and concealed them on his person. While he was in the store, a loss prevention officer recognized him from a previous incident, a previous theft, and began watching him on film, saw him with the sunglasses, and then went to wait on him to bypass all points of sale and leave the store. When Mr. Douglas went to leave, he spotted the loss prevention officer and turned around, discarded the items, and left, fled on foot.
All right. Where is this Macy's store located?
It's at the North Point Malls. It's in Alpharetta, Fulton County.
What's the address?
Oh, I'd have to look it up real quick.
You can
on paper.
Yeah, you can look down at your notes if you need.
It's 5,000 North Point Circle.
Copy. And that 5,000 North Point Circle, that's in Fulton County?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is the loss prevention officer's name?
Lucas Kramer. I know his last name is Kramer. I believe his first name is Lucas.
Okay. And did you speak to him?
I did.
When did you speak to him?
I spoke to him on the phone shortly after receiving the, well, it took me a couple of days to get in touch with him, but I spoke to him on the telephone.
All right. Did you speak to the officers that initially responded?
I did not.
Do you know who those officers were?
I do. I believe it's Officer Nolan or Nolan.
Okay. Who called 911? Or who called the police?
Macy's did.
That would have been Mr. Kramer, the loss prevention
I
officer.
believe so, yes.
Is there surveillance of this incident?
There is.
Okay, and that surveillance has been preserved?
It has.
Did you observe the surveillance video?
I did.
Okay, and the initial officers also saw that surveillance video?
I'm not sure if the initial officer saw it or not, to be honest with you. They didn't have the video footage ready for a couple of days for me to observe it.
But those initial officers did speak with Mr. Kramer?
They did.
Okay. What did you see on the surveillance video?
I saw a gentleman walking up to the kiosk there with the shelf of sunglasses, take, I believe it's either 4 or 5 pairs, and then walk away from the shelf. I didn't see him discard or conceal them or anything like that on his person, but he did take them from the shelf.
Did he ever attempt to conceal the sunglasses?
To my knowledge, only going off of what Mr. Kramer attested to is that Mr. Douglas concealed them on his person in his pants.
Okay.
I didn't physically see it.
Okay. What kind of sunglasses were they?
Burberry.
Mr. Kramer identified the sunglasses?
Yes.
Did you see the sunglasses?
I did not.
They were returned to Macy's?
They were.
On the 17th of July?
I believe so, yes.
Did Mr. Kramer tell you how much the glasses cost?
The total amount was like $1,124.
Okay. You got the information from Mr. Kramer?
I did.
Okay.
Signed affidavit.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you identify the defendant?
Well, Mr. Kramer provided me all his information. I then did a criminal history check. I found his extensive criminal history with shoplifting. Tried to reach out to him several times to get his side of the story to see what his thoughts were on that day. But could never get in touch with him.
Do you see the person in the courtroom today who you identified as a suspect?
I do.
Can you describe where he or she is sitting and what he or she is wearing?
See a gentleman in the blue shirt with the white underneath. It's got bald up top, hair on the side and the back.
You're able to make that identification without everybody needing to remove their mask?
Correct.
All right. Just for the record, Your Honor, the record reflect that the officer has identified the defendant, Eric Douglas.
All right, noted.
It was used the hair pattern as well. Yeah.
I got you.
Just a few more questions. How did you arrive to your probable cause conclusion for a felony theft by shoplifting here?
The amounts taken in the code section of it. I mean, it states that he has to conceal that on his person in order to obtain that information, in order to be charged with it. The gentleman made it almost to the doors, bypassed all points of sale. That's when he spotted the loss prevention officer. When he saw the loss prevention officer, he then turned around and fled, discarding the property.
And Mr. Kramer was there on the scene watching everything happen?
Yes, sir. He signed and wrote a statement saying such.
All right. And what kind of location is 5000 North Point Circle?
It's a mall.
What's the name of the mall?
North Point Mall.
North Point Mall. Okay. Were there any other witnesses besides Mr. Kramer?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you speak to anybody else?
No, sir.
What time did this incident occur?
It happened. Apologize. The report was made around 3:12 in the afternoon. I believe he entered the store. Forgive me.
Yeah, I think your witness needs to refresh the collection.
Yes, he's been advised that he may use his notes to refresh his recollection, but he may not read from his notes.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact time. It was an afternoon.
It was an afternoon. Okay, that's fine. Time. Yes, and just one more question. With respect to concealing the merchandise in his pants, per Mr. Kramer, did Mr. Kramer ever describe at any point the defendant attempting to pay for the sunglasses?
No, he specifically was describing Mr. Douglas trying to exit the store without paying for the items.
No further questions for this witness at this time, Your Honor.
Cross?
Yes, Detective Fowler, I actually just have 2 or 3 questions, actually.
Sure.
Did I understand you correctly on direct when you said that it took you a couple of days to see the video,
Mhm.
right? And it took you a couple of days to get in touch with Loss Prevention Officer Kramer,
Okay.
right? When you watched the video, you didn't see the concealment of the items?
I saw him take the items from the shelf and walk off from there. Now,
So when he walks off when he takes the items from the shelf,
Mhm.
he walks off, they're in his hand?
to my knowledge, they were.
Right, so. And at this point, Loss Prevention Officer Kramer, he's somewhere in the store watching it take place as it's happening?
When I spoke to Mr. Kramer, he said that he observed Mr. Douglas take the items. He then went and watched him and then waited for him to exit the store. So he saw the action of him taking the items and concealing them on his person.
Okay, so where on his persons did he conceal it?
He said in his pants,
Like back pocket or something?
back pocket, front pocket, inside the pants. I don't know, ma'am.
But you didn't see that?
I did not. I did not see him take them and place them in his pants, but I saw him in possession of them.
In his hand?
I saw him in possession of them, yes.
Okay. And the concealment part, okay, you didn't see the concealment part. Did you see the discarding of the items?
I don't have that part on video.
But they were discarded inside the store somewhere, right?
From what I was told, yes.
Okay, where in the store?
Somewhere inside the Macy's at North Point Mall. 5,000 North Point Circle.
Okay.
I mean, the gentleman was waiting for him outside of the store, outside the doors. And then when Mr. Douglas approached the door to exit, he then turned around and took off and discarded the items.
Okay, I got that part.
So that would suggest him having them on his person and not paying for them.
Okay, you said that all cash registers had been passed?
Mm-hmm.
So he had made it to the point of the door where where the sound goes off. if you're-
Sensor.
The sensor, yes.
To my knowledge, he didn't exit the store. He was attempting to exit the store when he saw Mr. Kramer.
Okay. And the sensor didn't go off or anything?
To my knowledge, I don't know if he passed the sensor, went through the sensor, stood by the sensor, went around the sensor. I don't know anything about the sensor. I can just tell you that Mr. Kramer was waiting for him outside the doors and was watching him through the door when Mr. Douglas approached him. Mr. Kramer said that Mr. Douglas saw him, turned around and went the other way, and that's when he discarded the property.
And then exited out of a completely different door?
It's a mall. They have many exits.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's what you're saying. But the video you saw didn't capture Mr. Douglas walking toward the exit or turning around? Or was that captured on video?
If it's on video, I don't have it.
Okay, so you didn't, right, okay. So you can see it. But the items were recovered that same day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Returned to the shelf. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yes.
no further questions.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
Anything else for this officer?
No further questions for this officer. May he be excused.
Yes, thank you, Detective Fowler. Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right, argument?
Your Honor, my only argument would be that they're alleging that Mr. Douglas concealed the items, yet this detective watched the video and does not see him conceal the items. I mean, the video's going as it's happening,
Mm-hmm.
and he did watch the video. He sees him take the items from the shelf, but he doesn't see him conceal it. So without the concealment, You need the concealment because that would go toward intent.
Right.
And this witness did not see the concealment, so I'm asking for no PC.
We would respectfully disagree, based on the language in the statute. This detective and
Misdemeanor convictions for theft by shoplifting. There are 5 prior felony convictions outside the 10-year period, 2 of which are theft by shoplifting, 3 felony convictions separately in 2018, all out of DeKalb County theft by shoplifting, 3 FTAs and 3 violations of probation. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Brazy, you still live in Decatur?
Your Honor, the address that I have for him is 792 Magnolia Way Northwest, apartment 308, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
All right, because before he listed a Decatur address.
Right.
All right, go ahead with your argument.
But at that address, he is the caretaker for an elderly lady, or well, for a lady who is suffering from cancer. Her name is Diane Walker. I have spoken with her, emailed with her the entire time he's been in, Your Honor. She does need assistance from him because he is the one who was helping her with her treatments and everything. Mr. Douglas is 44 years old, Your Honor. He did attend Archer High School. He's currently unemployed because he's applying for SSI disability, Your Honor. There have been some MH issues that required medication off and on for the past 20 years. So that sort of has something to do with that, with his history, as well as substance abuse issue, which would explain all of the arrests and the thefts and that type of thing, Your Honor. Today makes 97 days that he's been in. He has a stable residence. He has someone who's willing to see to it that he makes his court dates and all of that. You didn't hear about FTAs or anything like that. So he's going to come to court, Your Honor. I'm asking for Your Honor to take into account today makes 97 days in Fulton County Jail, no bond, for theft by shoplifting, where the items were recovered. I mean, it is what it is. I am asking for a $2,500 bond.
All right, Norwood?
Yes, just briefly, Your Honor. With respect to the Iowa factors, we would submit there is a significant danger posed to the property of the Macy's at the 5000 North Point Circle Mall. We would request to stay away, particularly given that the loss prevention officer had previously recognized this defendant on the premises, attempting to appropriate merchandise. Furthermore, given the extensive criminal history, the state is concerned about the significant risk of reoffending pending trial. And given the address in one county, and then the incident here being not the only incident per the detective's testimony, the state is concerned about a potential community ties issue here as well. But we will leave this in Your Honor's sound discretion, any modification.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from North Point Mall, stay away from 5000 North Point Circle. in Alpharetta, Georgia. Stay away from all Macy's stores and all sunglass huts. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and your medical appointments, and court for disability. Because you're probably going to get turned down the first time you apply for disability. Then you have to file an appeal. Then you get a hearing in about a year. All right. It looks like you got 69 cycles with theft. $8,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Come on, sir.
Mr. IT, Miss Bray right there, broke it, right there. Give her the invoice on the way out when you fix it, okay? She's gonna pay for it. What application you're on?
Demetrius Williams.
Demetrius
That
Williams.
is position 2.
All right,
All right, now that concludes my business, ma'am.
all right, see you this evening, right? No?
Actually, I only had one case, Correga Cox, he was indicted last
Oh,
night.
okay, all right, well then I won't see you.
So
All
I'll see you on Thursday night.
right, have a good one.
All right, y'all.
So do we know about the officer in number 1?
I'm reaching out right now, Your Honor. I did not see a prior update, but I will ask our investigator right now if she has any update on that officer's whereabouts.
All right, so officer, you may have to walk up there, we're kind of improvising here, and just, don't eat the microphone, but, oh, come here, Bray, I just shot you a screenshot of the court reporter's email.
Yes, I did.
I shot you a screenshot on your text. I texted to you a screenshot. Okay.
All right, see y'all later.
All right, officer, if you raise your right hand, you swear affirm testimony about to give the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? All right, and if you go over, turn around, spin around the microphone, and if you watch, well, yeah, I'll watch it. State your name and spell it for the court reporter.
Can you say that one more time?
State your name, spell it for the court reporter.
All right. Officer Courtney Hill, first name Quintin, last name Hill, Hill.
Is that good, Madam Court Reporter?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. All right, go ahead, Mr. Norwood.
Yes, Judge.
You're good.
Oh, is it working now? You want to sit down over here? He says he's got it working now, officer.
Oh, perfect.
Test 1, 2. All right.
Just chase Miss Bray down, give her the invoice. She'll pay for it. All right, you want to pull it, just pull it down like that. That way she can hear you.
All right.
Perfect. All right. All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Officer Hill. Thank you for being here. Can you start by telling us where you are employed?
I'm currently employed College Park Police Department.
How long have you been employed by the College Park Police Department?
In February 14th will make 2 years.
Okay. What are your duties with the College Park Police Department?
My duties are to patrol the area, College Park, which is also Fulton and Clayton County, and just enforce the laws in the city of College Park.
So when you're on patrol, does that include regularly conducting traffic stops?
It does.
Do you have training and experience in conducting traffic stops?
I do. I have several traffic, have done several traffic stops for different violations of stolen vehicles, armed robbery suspects, things of that nature.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
I don't.
Are you post-certified?
I am.
Were you post-certified on October 25th, 2022?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell the court about the incident that occurred on that date and how your investigation of Demetrius Williams began?
So I observed a gray Cadillac traveling down Herschel Road. The vehicle did not have, it was not emitting a red light on the rear. And at that time, I believe it was around 1 o'clock in the morning. So I do believe that you're supposed to have all lights on at that time, and his didn't. So I conducted a traffic stop and ended up he pulled over into 2549 Roosevelt Highway, which is a crossing street. And once I made that traffic stop,
Demetrius Williams jumped out of the car and stated that he knows what's going on with the car. He knows there's something wrong with it. As he was pointing somewhere in the rear of the car, I think he's pointing at the gas tank or something. I guess he was saying something was wrong with the gas tank. And then I advised him the reason for the traffic stop was because his vehicle didn't have taillights on. So after that, I stated, did he have a license on his person? He stated that he didn't. He provided his name and date of birth. When he gave me that name and date of birth, it did not come back. So he was detained for this time being. And he ended up, somebody was able to run his name and date of birth in a different form. So I believe he gave me his birthday as 11/18/1985, when it was his birthday is 12/18/1986. So his name came back. He had a warrant out of Fulton County, failed to appear. He was detained. The warrant was confirmed. Search incident to arrest. He had a clear plastic bag containing clear substance that he stated was ice or meth. With him stating that, his vehicle was also did not have registration or insurance. So Moody's record came to impound the vehicle. Search incident, inventory search on the vehicle was done. Also yielded, he had another plastic bag of a clear hard substance, which also was similar to the same plastic bag he identified as ice or meth. That was inside of the armrest inside the vehicle. He also had a 5-inch knife sitting on the floorboard of the driver's seat. And Demetrius was transported to College Park Jail.
All right. Where did you first see the vehicle that the defendant was driving?
I first saw it at the intersection of Herschel Road and Old National.
Is that in Fulton County?
That is.
When did you stop the vehicle?
I activated my emergency lights and sirens right about in the middle of 2549 Roosevelt Highway, which is the Exxon, and in between the Old National Highway and Herschel Road intersection.
So is that location in Fulton County?
It is.
2549 Roosevelt Highway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of vehicle was the defendant driving?
He was driving I know for sure it was a Cadillac.
Did it have registration?
It didn't have current registration.
The registration, was it suspended?
Yes.
Did you check if it was canceled or revoked, or it came back suspended?
I'm not sure whether it was canceled, revoked, or expired or anything. I just know that it wasn't valid.
How did you ascertain that?
Through GCIC, NCIC.
Mm-hmm. And there was no insurance either?
No, sir.
That's what led to you impounding the vehicle?
Correct.
Okay. How did you find out about the FTA?
I found out the FTA after I was able to get his correct date of birth, and somebody was able to run it over the radio. It was run over the radio through GCIC, NCIC, which is what dispatch used. And they were able to find out and confirm with his social security number that he was the person who was wanted.
And did the defendant make statements about anything? After you told him about the FTA?
Yes, he after that, well, he was already detained at the moment, but he was reassured that he was placed under arrest. And search incident to arrest, he had a clear plastic bag of methamphetamine, which he identified as ice or meth.
How much was in the bag?
Approximately 3 grams.
Did you weigh it?
Yes.
When did you weigh it?
I waited at the station.
Did you field test it or anything?
I don't recall if I field tested it.
How did you know that it was a controlled substance?
I knew that it was a controlled substance because I made previous arrests for methamphetamine. Also that I've also field tested some before, so I know what it looks like. So my knowledge and training and experience in previous cases in that nature, I knew what it was.
It was, and what was it?
Methamphetamine.
Ice and meth the same thing?
Yes, that's the terminology he used. He used ice or meth.
With respect to the knife, did you see the knife?
I did.
Did you collect the knife and put it in the evidence?
I did.
Did you measure the knife on the scene?
Yes.
Is that how you found out about how many inches it was?
Correct.
And how many inches was the knife?
Approximately 5 inches.
Can you describe anything else about the knife?
I can't describe what the knife looked like specifically. I do remember it had a green holster, you could say holder for it.
And where did you find the knife?
I found the knife on the driver's side floor.
Was there anybody else in the car?
No.
And this defendant, you observed him driving the car?
Yes.
So he could have reached down and got the knife at any point?
Correct.
Was it concealed or anything?
It wasn't concealed, but during the search incident arrest, I found the holder for the knife inside of his pocket.
Okay. So it was just sitting there on the floor?
Correct.
Where did you find the other bag of suspected methamphetamine?
It was found inside of the armrest during the inventory search.
That's a different part of the car?
Yeah. Correct. That's right where the driver, so if you're driving, it's right where a person holds their arm, while they're driving for comfort.
And how did you know what that substance was?
Because he identified it previously. It was inside a clear plastic bag. It was a clear hard substance, which matched the same.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other officers on scene?
There were.
What were their names?
Officer Armentrout.
Did you have your body worn camera on?
Correct.
Did the other officer have the body worn camera on?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm not sure for sure.
And your body cam, was that preserved in evidence?
It was.
And you arrested this defendant on the scene at 2549 Roosevelt Highway?
Yes.
Did you Mirandize him?
I didn't.
And that arrest was caught on body cam?
Yes.
Okay. Where was the first bag of plastic found, of the first bag of ice or meth found on the defendant's person?
In his left pant pocket.
Was there anything else on the defendant's person?
A green holster for his knife.
All right. How did you identify the defendant?
Through him giving his name. And after he gave his name, looked it up, didn't come back through GCIC, NCIC. It didn't return. I asked him again. He stated the same thing. He said it was correct. He was very solid in what he said, but when I looked it up with the correct date of birth, I was able to identify him.
Yeah. Do you see the person in the courtroom who was identified as a suspect today?
Everybody take the mask off?
Can you describe where he or she is sitting and what he or she is wearing?
I can't see without his mask.
Everybody take your mask off.
Yes, that's him.
Can you describe where he or she is sitting and what he or she is wearing?
He is sitting on the left side. This gentleman right here, he has a mask on. He has a gray shirt and a blue shirt on.
At the left or the right side?
He's on the left side.
Oh, your left. Yeah.
On my left.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just making sure. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. You can have a seat now. Your Honor, may the record reflect that the officer has identified a defendant, Demetrius Williams.
Noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a few more questions. Did you were you advised of any felony convictions by dispatch?
I wasn't.
All right, but they would have checked.
Correct.
All right. How did you have a ruler or a measuring tape to confirm how long the knife was?
I did. We have a weight, and we have also a ruler inside of the roll call room.
Oh,
and so that's what I measured it with.
So I was back at the station.
Correct.
Okay. And the defendant didn't have any driver's license?
That's correct.
And you observed that the brake was not functioning correctly, the brake lights and the tail lights?
Yes.
Okay. Were they broken or anything?
I can't recall if they were broken or not, but I do know that they were not on when I conducted the traffic stop.
All right. And you were post-certified on this date, October 25th, 2022?
Yes.
It's about 1 a.m?
About 1 a.m.
Right. No further questions for the witness, Your Honor.
Cross?
Yes, thank you. Officer Hill, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. A few more questions. Going back to the knife, you mentioned it was 5 inches long.
Correct.
Are we talking the knife in total or the blade itself? The blade was 5 inches.
Yeah.
And then attached to the blade, there was a green handle.
Correct.
All right. And you also mentioned that there was a sheath, basically, or a knife holder involved. And that sheath was inside Mr. Williams' pocket?
It was.
Okay. And the knife was already, the knife itself was somewhere else.
The knife itself was on the driver's side floor.
Okay. All right. Did you observe Mr. Williams touch or reach for that knife?
I did not, but when I conducted the traffic stop, Mr. Williams did exit the vehicle before I approached the vehicle.
Okay. When he exited the vehicle, were you able to see the green sheath in his pocket?
I was not.
And as for the bag, you said that there were two bags with ice that were recovered in the scene, right?
Correct.
One of them was on Mr. Williams' person.
Yes.
Was it in a pocket of his?
It was.
Pants pocket?
Correct.
All right. How were you able to discover that bag in his pocket?
How was I able to discover it?
Mm-hmm.
So during the search incident to arrest, anytime we arrest anybody, we search them for weapons, contraband, tools of escape to ensure our safety. And when that was located, Mr. Williams identified it as ice or meth.
All right. So it was search incident to arrest. Yes?
Correct.
And he was essentially placed in custody initially for a broken taillight.
No, he was placed in custody after his warrant was confirmed.
All right, understood. And after the warrant was confirmed, you searched him, arrested him, and found the bag of methamphetamine in his pocket.
Correct.
All right, I understand. And then there was another bag, you said, found in the center console of the vehicle.
Yes.
Did you weigh each of these bags individually?
I did.
What was the weight that was found on Mr. Williams' person?
Approximately 3 grams.
All right, and do you remember the weight found in the center console?
Approximately 3 grams.
Neither of these bags were field tested?
No.
Were they submitted to GBI for lab testing?
They were.
And you mentioned Your body cam was on, right, for the encounter?
Yes.
Were you able to determine or ascertain who the vehicle was at least most recently registered to?
I was, but Mr. Williams was in control and possession of the vehicle.
Understood. But still, do you happen to know the name of the person whose vehicle it might have belonged, or whose vehicle it was?
Yes, but I'm not sure of their name.
All right. But do you know if it was Mr. Williams or not?
I'm not sure.
All right. Thank you, Officer Hill. Those are all my questions.
Thank
Any
you, sir.
follow-up?
Just very briefly, one question, Your Honor. How did you arrive to your probable cause conclusion for knowingly driving motor vehicle on suspended, canceled, or revoked registration?
You said how?
Yes.
So since Mr. Williams was operating a motor vehicle on the roadway, his vehicle did not have insurance. So that led me to impounding the vehicle.
And that's how you determined that he was knowingly driving the motor vehicle on suspended, canceled, or revoked registration?
Correct. So it's also ran through GCIC, NCIC, and as I'm conducting a traffic stop, I'm letting dispatch know my location and also the license plate on the vehicle.
And you mentioned when you first stopped the car, Mr. Williams got out the car first?
Correct.
Did he say anything at that time?
He did. He hopped out of the vehicle and pointed to the rear of the vehicle and said, I know what's something's wrong with my car.
Was he pointing in the direction of the license plate?
He was just pointing to the rear.
Okay. Did he say anything about the license plate at that point?
He didn't.
Okay. Were there any firearms on the scene?
No.
But the blade of the knife was 5 inches?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions for this witness, Your Honor. May you be
Anything
excused?
Very briefly, was there any other person in the car?
No, sir.
And were there any witnesses other than you and Officer Omentrout?
Correct.
Any other witnesses that would have observed this interaction?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, those are all my questions. Thanks.
Madam Court Reporter, do you want to know if he knows how to spell that other officer's name?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, I would like to know.
Yeah, can you spell that other officer's name if you happen to know how?
Yes, it's Armentrout. It's ARMENTROUT.
Thank you, officer. Anything else for this officer?
No, Your Honor. May he be excused?
Yeah, stay safe out there.
Thank you.
All right. All right, go ahead with the argument.
Once done, sir. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Stay safe. Yes, Judge, we'll ask that you find probable cause on all counts with respect to the knowingly driving motor vehicle on suspended, canceled, revoked registration. We would submit upon the defendant exiting the vehicle when he was stopped and pointing towards the rear of the video. That is indicative of the requisite knowledge. Nothing further from the state.
All right, good. Mr. Rhodes?
Thanks, Judge. We don't know. I concede, of course, Mr. Williams was in operation of the vehicle. We don't know, however, whose vehicle exactly it was, who is the registered owner of the vehicle. And with that, we wouldn't know if Mr. Williams had the requisite knowledge of someone else's, out-of-date vehicle or unregistered vehicle as he was driving it. So I would ask that there be no PC found for that.
Want to respond, Mr. Norwood?
No, Your Honor, when I first covered it, on the initial the argument, when I'll just reiterate, I guess, that with respect to him exiting the vehicle, that would suggest requisite knowledge. We do understand the officer's testimony didn't establish the ownership of the vehicle, but based on my understanding of the statute, the knowledge that the vehicle registration status was invalid was present on the scene. But we will submit on evidence, and nothing further to add, Your Honor.
All right, I find probable cause on all counts. He's been in 99 days without indictment. There's a $15,000 split bond. Trial.
Your Honor, the defendant has 13 cycles beginning in 2007. Last arrest was June of 2021 for probation violation out of Fulton County. Underlying charge was criminal damage to property in the first degree and first degree arson. There are several open cases. There's open case 22 SC 180892, possession of methamphetamine, possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, possession of drug-related objects, possession of controlled substance in a drug-free zone. There's an open case 22, second open case 22 SC 185486, violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, some drug-free zone, possession of Schedule 1 or 2, possession of a knife during commission of a felony. Also, there's probation on 14 SC 129650, first degree arson, 16 years probation, disposition date of February 27th of 2015. 3 prior felony convictions outside the 10-year period, 3 violations of probation. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Williams has been in jail, of course, for 99 days. He is from Atlanta. All of his family is here as well. And I do have an address on file for him in Atlanta. It's the address on Odyssey on Jonesboro Road. It isn't in Atlanta. He'd be able to stay with his cousin who lives there. He is, let me see. Sorry, Judge. He's 37 years old, I believe, at this point. Of course, he's not a flight risk. He is from Atlanta. He's been in on a $15,000 bond total for these charges. He hasn't been able to make that as it is. He also does have another open case with its own set of bond issues that we are working on. Still, Judge, we would ask that bond be reduced so as to not hold Mr. Williams up paying trial. We don't know when this case will be indicted, but we would ask that bond be reduced to $5,000.
All right, Mr. Rhodes, is that Fulton County part of Jonesboro Road or Clayton County?
I didn't look it up, Judge. I'm not sure.
Probably ask him. He's sitting right beside you.
It is. Do you know if this address is in Fulton County or Clayton County?
He's in Fulton County.
All right. It seems to be in Fulton County.
It's in Fulton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge. With respect to the bond as it is now, we understand it. It's been some time and the case is not indicted yet, but the defendant does have a bond. We'll submit a $15,000 split bond here is very reasonable and very fair, particularly given the nature of the criminal history. The state is very concerned that this defendant was in possession of these substances, controlled substances, and we are aware they are mere allegations, but with an open probation for arson, we would submit there is a significant danger posed to the community, given the possession of these substances and particularly given the extent of the driving violations here as well. We would submit there is danger to other drivers on the road as well. With respect to a significant likelihood of reoffending pending trial, this defendant has an open case involving perhaps more methamphetamine or more controlled substances. There is an extraordinary risk of reoffending pending trial, given the nature of these substances and open probation violations, other open cases, multiple felony convictions, some of which are violent, and of course the open probation for an arson, 2015, 16 years. It's barely a fourth into it, or a little bit more than a quarter way through. Again, we are concerned, and we would submit there is a significant risk of not returning to this jurisdiction to face the trial, to face the charges. But we will leave any modification in your Honor's sound discretion, and ask for no weapons and no drugs without a prescription. Nothing further from the state.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of College Park. No driving during the pendency of this case. Got 8,000 on count 1, 5,000 on count 2, 2,000 on count 3, 2,000 on count 4, 2,000 on count 5, $250 on the last count. 8,000, 5,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 250. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, what do we have on position, our last case, position 1? It's Christopher Troop?
Not certain. Believe it's Troop. Be my base.
Sure. Reach out to your investigator.
I have reached out to the investigator. I reached out to them at 1:57. They said they're waiting on the agency to respond at 2:10. I haven't heard anything back. I'll send them another text message right now. But if given that the time indicated was 1 o'clock, and this is the first time on the calendar, if the court is inclined to do a one-time reset, the state is amenable to that, but I am texting our investigator.
And Judge, of course, we would oppose a reset. The officer had been subpoenaed. We'd move for a dismissal for lack of probable cause.
You have to go ahead and bring him out?
Sure.
Troop, you want to go ahead and bring him out? That way he'll.
Troop.
Okay. Christopher Troop. You want to take up bond anyway, don't you? Okay. If there's no response of one reset, what do you want? A couple of weeks out?
Just 2 weeks, Your Honor. Yeah, that should be sufficient. And of course, I will notate that we didn't have an update on where their status was for the next 88, but we should be able to get them in here. APD has been getting better with us. I'm not sure what happened here, but I can confirm. Yeah, I'm getting. I just heard back. There is no update. Investigator Pauls has confirmed that he was subpoenaed on January 23rd.
All right. So we'll give just one final reset. Ms. Watts, what date do you have? What date?
Judge Manning, we can do February 21st.
You want the 21st? Mr. Rhodes, that's a Tuesday.
I think I'm open. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Does that mean, I don't want you here on a day you're usually not here. Some people like to all be on the same day.
No, I'll make it work.
All right, February the 21st, 9 or 2 o'clock. I mean, 9 or 1.
We can do 1 p.m.
I prefer.
Oh, I guess, yeah, I'll leave it in the hands of council.
I kind of like mornings, but I don't really care that much.
All right, surprise us, Ms. Watts.
Okay, I will.
All right. All right, so the officer's not here, but we're gonna go ahead and hear your case on bond, okay? And then your case will be reset for February the 21st to be heard on your prelim, okay?
Your Honor, what time? Is it 1 or 9?
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Thank you.
And I guess just to double check, is there signage on 5B indicating that we're back in 1A?
I don't know. I know there's one over there that says 5B on that door. Do we know, Ms. Lewis? Oh, do we know, Ms. Watts, if they took the signs down? I know there's a note on that door to the behind you, but I don't know if there's anything on 5B.
I'm just not certain what courtroom that was put on the calendar. I know some of them probably still said 1A at that point, but then they moved to 5B and they moved back. So I just hope that wouldn't cause any confusion for where the officers are supposed to report to.
Ms. Watts, do you know if,
No, Judge, I don't know if this sign is on the door or not.
let me see. Let me ask, let's see.
Because I know some of these upcoming calendars, they probably did receive notice telling them to report to 5B. So we might want to just make sure that there's signage.
Yeah, because I know that there's one sign over there that says go to 5 on the outside of that door. It's not this one, it's that one. But most usually don't go in that one since it's at the very end of the.
But if some of them go to 5B and that's like locked or something, and they just leave, I just hope that wouldn't happen.
Says Richardson's?
Yes.
Richardson. Can you call up there and see if there's anybody outside there, inside there?
There's no one in the chamber. That's my courtroom. There's no one in the chamber.
Oh, okay.
Because I think my calendar for this one had 1A, but I know some of them, depending on what we do, because we do get them kind of tight. So it's time,
I can send someone a text.
Yeah, just see if somebody can run and make sure there's no officer out there. Yeah, they told me this morning, this morning or yesterday. I think she had a multi-co-defendant trial, and if they pled, we were going to be. Wow. They didn't plead, we were going to be there. She was going to be here.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Let's see if I can perhaps give him a quick ring.
Person not picking up, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Gaston says she'll check too. She said there should be. She's double checked. She said she put one up there yesterday.
Okay.
But I don't.
Well, we have signage then. That's fine.
Yeah. All right, we'll reset it till then. Obviously, if we find out different, then we'll get him down here. All right, it's position 1, Christopher Maurice Troop, 22 CP 213479, 99 days without indictment. Theft by receiving stolen property, driving without a valid license and east. You want to waive on that one?
Sure, yes.
Okay, and we'll waive, but it says CWAC charge. Pre-trial, there's no bond.
The defendant has 23 cycles beginning in 2000. He's a multi-state offender with arrests from the states of Florida and Georgia. Last arrest was August of 2022 by the Temple Terrace Police Department in Temple Terrace, Florida. Underlying charges were resist officer and trespass and occupied structure. On both of the charges, the defendant received 30 days confinement. 3 prior felony convictions from the state of Florida, all outside of the 10-year period. 3 violations of probation. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Rhodes.
Thanks. Mr. Troop is 41 years old, and he is indeed from Florida. That would explain, those prior cycles in Florida. He was traveling, through and to Georgia, basically when he was arrested for this incident. He does, however, have family who lives here, and I've called his brother who owns a local barbershop, and he would be able to stay with him pending trial. I have his address is 1335 Harrington Road in Duluth, Georgia. So we wouldn't be a flight risk in that capacity. We have an address for him here in Georgia. He was working previously at an IHOP in Florida, of course. In Georgia, he would have to be looking for another job. We don't know exactly where he might, be going or where he might be placed. He, of course, just is now here. But he will try to, find a job working. He was telling me with Tyler Perry Studios. He is a military veteran. He served our country for 5 years in the U.S. Navy. And Judge, of course, he's been in for, I think, 99 days now without indictment. He is entitled to a bond. I would ask that the court grant Mr. Troop a UJR. He doesn't have any funds to afford any sort of monetary bond at this point. But of course, we can, place him on an ankle monitor here at that address that I mentioned before. He won't be a flight risk. He poses no danger, I would say, to the community. As you've heard, his last cycle from pretrial was, I believe, a set of misdemeanors in Florida. And, there are other things beyond a 10-year period. So I don't think that he's a, big danger or risk to the community or a risk to reoffend. I'd ask for a UJR for Mr. Troop. Thank you.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Judge. Well, we object to any UGR on any charge here, just as a matter of just getting the defendant to come back to court. We just want the defendant to have some skin in the game, particularly given the nature of these charges, the nature of the criminal history, and the out-of-state address. We have two victims here. Devontae Mitchell is the victim for the charge that was weighed. We would submit that still may be CWAC, but right now it's a misdemeanor that is not actually a crime against a woman, but it could be at some point. But yes, but it's still in that pattern of charges. So there is significant concern. We have reached out to our victim. I'm still pending an update from our victim witness advocate. They have attempted to reach out. There have been previous attempts to reach out, but I don't have an update from them right now. With respect to the other victim, Christopher Dunn, that was a Ford EcoSport. I'm sure your Honor reads the warrants, I'm sure, but I've just put that property on the record. That is a significant danger to the property of Christopher Dunn out of Florida. And then the driving while relaxing, we submit there's a danger to other drivers on the road. Risk of reoffending pending trial. We are concerned about those, 3 prior felony convictions. They somewhat dated, but the concern remains. And of course, given the out-of-state address, we would submit there is a risk of not returning to Fulton County to face the charges. We'll leave the determination of the bond in your Honor's sound discretion. We will request a $10,000 good bond on the death by receiving stolen property, nothing lower than $5,000 on the charge I was waived. If your Honor is so inclined, that's what the state's request is. Nothing further.
Okay. I will do, let's see. 8,000 on count 1, 2,000 on count 3, and 5,000 on the CWAC or the other charge that was waived sounding. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. So you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, Medical appointments and employment. You have to provide proof of employment, name of your employer, location you're going to be working, and the schedule. You have to supply that every week to Mr. Rhodes. He'll supply that to the state, and you also have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company. You're going to be living in Duluth, so you can stay out of Fulton County. So only come here for court and to see your lawyer. Don't get gas, don't get lunch, don't buy clothes, don't get a flat tire, don't do anything in Fulton County except drive straight from Duluth to the courthouse, pay parking, leave when you leave, and go straight there. Fill up the gas before you leave Duluth. All right, sir? Let's see. I think I already said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Devontae, Devonte Mitchell, and no further contact with Christopher Dunn, Dunn. 8,000, 2,000, 5,000. Best of luck to you, sir. And that one's reset to February the 21st at 1 p.m. So I think that's all for today, right?
Yes, Judge, I believe that covers everything. We reset the other case due to the officer advising us that he had a medical condition. So that's also February 21st.
Oh, yeah, we'll still hear bond on that one, though. I did remember that. She still wants to hear bond on that
Oh,
one.
that's fine. Yeah.
That one.
I apologize, Your Honor, but you have swells.
Oh, sewer?
Swell.
That sewer was indicted.
Okay.
Wait, let me look, because I got the indictment list.
That was on the morning calendar?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that one was indicted, yes.
yeah, that was supposed to be indicted, Sewell, let's see. Yep, that was indicted.
Okay, what about Canty?
That's who we bring it back out.
That's who we're bringing out. We're just gonna do bond hearing on that real quick.
So he's,
And one more, D's.
That one's indicted.
Okay.
So this is Cordell Canty, right?
yes, Your Honor.
Canty, all right. Yes, sir. Have a good evening, and I'll see you this evening, or I'll see you later. Can you get Cordell Canty, C-N-T-Y? Ms. Gordon, did you run Bostic off?
Giving her a little rest, Your Honor.
Don't let her rest. Don't let her rest, Ms. Gordon.
Okay.
So we're gonna do number 4, Cordell Canty. It's reset because the officer's sick, but we're just gonna go ahead and do a bond hearing on that one, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Canty, how are you? Have a seat. So your preliminary hearing has been reset because the officer is sick, so we're gonna come back on February 21st at 1 p.m. And that's when we'll see the officer. However, we're gonna argue for a reduction in the bond today. So that's just what you're just gonna hear. And we did apply for Better Way Ministries, after we put in an application. So just gonna go back to that.
All right, let's see. Position 4, Cordell Canty, 22 CP 213506, 97 days without indictment, got theft by receiving stolen property, driving without a valid license, headlights not turned on as required. There's a $7,000 good bond as of October the 27th. Free trial.
Your Honor, the defendant has 22 cycles beginning in 2007. He is a multi-state offender with arrests from the states of Florida and Georgia. Last arrest was August of 2022 for willful obstruction of law enforcement officer, and that was by the Marta Police Department. That case is 22 CR 005162G. The charge resulted in a misdemeanor conviction August 3rd of 2022. 3 prior felony convictions from the state of Florida outside the 10-year period. A 2013 felony conviction from the state of Florida for grand theft 3rd degree and burglary unoccupied dwelling. A 2015 felony conviction from the state of Florida for robbery. Nothing further to add, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Kennebrew.
Your Honor, Mr. Canty is 35 years of age. He does have family here in Georgia. He spent the last 24 years of his life here. He did graduate from high school. We are asking for a UJR to a program. We have submitted an application to Better Way. If you're uninclined to do a UJR, we're asking for the bond to be $5,000 so he can get assistance with bonding out to go into the Better Way program once he is accepted.
All right. What says you, Mr. Norwood?
We say $7,000 good bond is reasonable here. We submit there is danger posed to Ricky Harris's property We have a 2013 Chrysler 300 here, stolen out of Tennessee. This was in the 4160 Fulton Industrial Boulevard area. The defendant stated he just came from Tennessee and does not have a license to drive, and he has history out of Florida. So the state is concerned here about a risk of flight or not return to his jurisdiction to face the charges. 3 felony convictions out of Florida would suggest a significant risk of reoffending pending trial, particularly given that they all involve theft. Again, if the defendant has a substance issue problem or whatever the nature of the problem was, the state would hope that they seek that treatment, but it doesn't seem that there's any underlying issue here given substance use. But we'll leave this matter in your Honor's discretion. Ask your Honor to allow $7,000 good bond to remain with no further contact with the victim and any stay away as your Honor sees reasonable and necessary. Nothing further from the state.
All right. So is he gonna live at the MLK address if he doesn't get into the Better Way Ministries?
That is not the current address. We are working with him, with our social worker for an address for him to live at. So we're helping him with housing as well. And that was being done through, I believe, the PAD program. So we're just essentially trying to assist him in being in a better position once he is released.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 4160 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. No further contact with Ricky Harris. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. So you also need to participate in any addiction counseling or anything at Better Way Ministries. Also supply the address upon bonding out of where you will be living. So let's see. And no driving until you have a valid license. You understand?
Sure.
No driving until you have a valid license. So if we reduce this down to 5, they can probably, okay,
Assist him with it.
right. So we'll do 3,000, 1,000, and 500. 3,000, 1,500. And you must go into a Better Way Ministries. And it's a year-long program, isn't it?
18 months.
18 months and complete that. If you don't go into that a Better Way Ministries and complete that program, that'll be a violation of your bond condition. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. We'll see you back February the 21st.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else? I got to go get ready for 5 o'clock.
No, Your Honor, thank you. And I'll see you at 5.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a great day.
Your Honor, are you gonna sign the orders when you get home?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You already have them in there. Are you on with me tonight?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have them in there now?
Yes, they're in, most of them are in there.
I'll see you.